The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Football fans, the time is now.
Give me a hell yeah!
For the football show you never knew you wanted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Broken Helmet.
Coming to you live on tape on this Sunday, January 25th, 2026. It is the Broken Helmet. Rich Eggy here behind the wheel. And to get in touch with the show, you can reach us at brokenhelmetshow@gmail.com or on X at Broken Helmet Pod. So today is not only the conference championships for the NFL, but it is also Snowmageddon. It is Winter Storm Fern, which has come and ravaged the country. I live in northern Jersey, and I'll tell you what, they have gotten this one wrong. There is no way that they were prepping everybody for the amount of snow that has fallen so far here at around 2 o'clock on Sunday, because they were saying originally it was 6 to 12, and then they said it was 8 to 14, and then 10 to 14, and then they brought it back down to 6 to 12. And I've already done 2 shovels, one when I woke up around 7, 8 o'clock, and then again around 12, 1 o'clock. And I don't know. I think, you ask me, I would say that I shoveled a foot of snow already. It's pretty crazy. Then everybody's sitting there texting. They're like, oh, what the hell's going on? They got this one wrong. Usually they do get them wrong. But on the other end, they tell you that it's going to be a foot of snow, and then it ends up being 4 inches. And you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Everybody bought out bread and milk and eggs, and for what? Now they're sitting with a whole refrigerator stocked with groceries for the next week, which obviously they'll use. But there's no reason to go out and start clubbing everybody over the head so that you can get yourself some English muffins. And here this time, maybe so. The roads will obviously clear. Everybody will be moving around here probably by Tuesday, if not Monday afternoon, Monday night. But point being is that Winter Storm Fern. Oh, and a shout out to my frat brother Fern. So we were writing him and saying, simply the worst. Winter Storm Fern. So thanks a lot, Fern. But anyway, everybody will rally after Monday is done, clean out their driveways and get the cars ready, and maybe get their kids back to school on Tuesday. But in the South, around, I think, Georgia and South Carolina, Tennessee, I've seen all these ice storms and down power lines and power poles, utility poles, and trees. And so obviously everybody's going to be digging out, for a little bit here. Maybe because of the snow, we get it not nearly as bad as other areas of the country where you're getting more catastrophic damage to the area, such as utility lines and trees and poles and all the rest of it. So we will find out. But anyway, screw the weather talk. I sound like my father. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. Oh, have you seen the weather out there today? It is crazy. Yeah, no doubt, Dad. We could talk about anything that you want to, outside of the weather or sports. No. But this storm, it's really fucking terrible. Have you ever seen anything like this? Yeah, like the last time we got like a foot-long snowstorm, but not since. Foot long. So anyway, to sports, my father's second favorite topic today: NFC Conference Championship, AFC Conference Championship. The AFC Championship coming to us first. That one's coming at 3 o'clock, and then the NFC Conference Championship will be at 6:30. So it is our Let's Bet show. Those unfamiliar, we'll do a quick rundown of the week that was with first down, and then second and third down we'll do differently. Second down, we will do the first game of today, which will be the AFC Championship game, and then on third down we'll do the NFC, and then fourth down we will do our bets. There's no point in doing picks because there's only 2 games today, so we're just going to get right into the wagers. So with all of that said, let's dive in here into the review.
First down.
And so last week was a good week. We did okay. I'll give myself a little Iron Mike Sharp pat on the back. I think it was Iron Mike Sharp, right, that did the pat on the back thing. But anyway, let's bring up the screen here and we'll do a screen share. Still, again, I need to work on hotkeys. If anybody podcasts, broadcasts, whatever it might be, whether I use EV I know StreamYard is by far the most popular broadcasting platform there are, but there end up being hotkeys, and then you can map these hotkeys to individual hardware units, such as what is Stream Deck, right? So that you just hit a certain button and up comes what you want, right? And that way, if you do try to do your own kind of organization, and what am I trying to think of? The word is direction, right? If you're trying to be your own director of your own podcast, you can do so more easily with Stream Deck and with all of the in all of the hotkeys or whatever. But anyway, and here we are. I have just crashed the program, as this is not what I wanted. If you're watching online, what you're seeing now is that I just stupidly brought up the share screen, which is supposed to be the review. And I don't need to do that because I have already, let's just get rid of that. I've done this already. I've done this on its own overlay. So I should be able to just hit that and go here, and away we go. So finally, I swear to God, at one point in my life, I was involved in broadcasting. And I produced a really good show. It was with O.J. McDuffie, Sid Rosenberg, Jeff DeForest before them. And then I went to WIOD. I did Heat pre and post games and half times with George Sedano. I can do this stuff. But for whatever reason, continually, the Falcon just breaks down on me. So here is the review that I was trying to pull up before everything derailed. And so as you can see here with the update last week, and I talked about this earlier in the week in the episode that I got in there, I put down 1,500, ended up cashing in about 3,200. So I was positive about 17. So that brought me up to about 4,700. It was solid. What I had come in, I had a 3-leg parlay with Josh Allen over 225. I had New England money line, and then I had Higgins over 38.5. Those three all hit, so that was good. 637 coming back on that one. I had New England money line and then the Rams money line. That was at plus 131. I had dropped 1,000 on that, pulled back to 2,300. That was good, and that was all she wrote. Oh, and then I actually had the Harvey ladder, which I hit, and I lucked out on that one because that happened all in the overtime. So if the overtime didn't hit, that wouldn't have come in. But the overtime did take place. That bet did hit, and so I'll take it 263. So, like I said, that put me at 4,700 and for a net profit of 1,740. So, my balance going into today is about 4,700 bucks. So, happy with that. Not happy with the season results because, as you can see, negative 50% on a margin is terrible. It's not so good. It's one would say
I am in so much pain right now.
And that is a fact, because when you have, if you're gambling at a negative 50% margin, don't gamble. That's the fact. That's do something else with your money because you're throwing it away. Right? So if you're even, okay, if you're down a little bit, it's not great, but a negative 50%, forget it. But that is the way that the season went. I've talked about it in shows prior, and we are just moving on with today's games. So that was the review of last week. So then let's get into this week.
Second down.
And like I said, we will attack the AFC Conference Championship with game 1 in second down. That is going to be New England at Denver, 3:00 on CBS. So we will unfortunately be bludgeoned with more of Tony Romo, who has just had an awful playoff doing color analyst. It's been horrific. Horrific. And everybody makes fun of him at this point. Now he's become a meme and a caricature. And, there's random people in TikTok and Instagram just doing Tony Romo impressions. That's how bad. And once you've reached that level, right, and they're never complimentary imitations. They're always, when somebody is doing imitation of them, it's always negative, right? And actually, SNL, on what might have been the worst SNL I've ever seen. I mean, I swear it was.
It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Mike, I agree with you. It was the girl from the movie that just came out with DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, or whatever the hell that movie was, which I watched and fell asleep. It was so bad. But anyway, she was in it. And then I don't even know who the musical act was. And I love music. I just didn't know who that act was. And whether it was her, and I forgot her name, she screwed up so many lines during the broadcast that it just took you out of it. She just kept botching them, really terribly screwing up lines. There was one early on, and I can't remember what it was, but she just said the complete opposite, which just stepped over the punchline. So it was one of the worst SNLs that I have seen. The reason I mention it, though, is because they did a spoof on, actually, it was ESPN. It wasn't Romo. I thought it was Romo, but it wasn't. It was Buck and Aikman, and then Lisa Salters on the sideline. And they just couldn't even get that right? They should have went and they should have done Romo, because had they done Romo, it would have given you more material to work with. And why did I bring up SNL when I was talking about Romo and CBS, and then the ESPN, the ABC ESPN was the point of the bit? There was no reason, because
I'm fucking stupid.
That's exactly what he is.
So anyway, back to the game. CBS, Romo, we get bludgeoned. Weather out there in Denver is going to be 18 degrees. They are expecting snow. That's what I've seen. So, I mean, snow all day. I mean, goddamn winter storm Fern everywhere. As for injuries, we know the biggest story of this is that Bo Nix is out. He has broken his ankle. They actually said today he underwent surgery. He will be out for 12 weeks. So, and they said that obviously to eliminate the thought that some people had put out there that maybe Bo Nix could come back in 2 weeks, although I don't ever remember reading that anywhere. But they came out on the ESPN article that I said, and that I read, and they mentioned that people had thought he might be able to come back. Although, again, I've never seen that or heard it. So J.K. Dobbins, they had teased him a little bit this week because I guess he practiced. They said he might be able to come back from his injury, and then they ixnayed him. He's no good. Questionable Troy Franklin, who probably is more relevant with Bo Nix as the quarterback than Jason Stidham, but he is questionable to go in today's game. On the other side for New England, Howard Landry, who has been out, they thought they might get him back. No good for him. He will be out. And then questionable will be Mac Hollins and Carlton Davis. So you got a wide receiver and a cornerback, both questionable, to see if they can come back. Right now, as it stands, Patriots currently a road favorite by 3.5 points. 43.5 is the over-under. The Sharps are going to be leaning right now toward Denver. And then you're going to have 67% of the tickets and 59% of the money pool in on New England. So you have the first game home dog right here. And everybody is coming in on the Broncos. This line opened up at -5.5. It has now been bet down to -3.5. I am confused because I really think that having Jarrett Stidham, who has not played forever, come off the bench and replace Bo Nix, who is kind of like shaky at best, would be a huge factor in the line. And sure, the road team was favored by -5.5. I don't know if I could consider the Broncos And I said this earlier in the week until it was like mine is 6.5, 7.5, 8, maybe. Not that you would ever see that kind of line movement. I understand. But that's what it would need for me to actually consider taking the Broncos here. And then I've heard everybody talk all week long, listen to a bunch of podcasts, and then just people that I know that love to gamble. And everybody's in on the Broncos, which then made me say, damn it, I am just square-ro. I couldn't be more square just being all over the Pats in this spot. But again, I can't. Here is the one logic line of reasoning that I can apply to this game that, okay, now I'm with you. I can understand Denver bettors and Denver having a solid shot here. Is that, yes, I am not a big believer in Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix plays good in certain spots and terrible in a lot of others. So if Bo Nix is average at best, how much worse is Jarrett Stidham? Right? That would be the logic behind the Denver team being able to do what they did with Nix with Stidham. And so the line shouldn't be 5.5. Maybe Stidham isn't that far off from Nix, and maybe it should be a pick 'em, right? So money has come in on the Broncos, bringing this line down to 3.5. New England, for all they did right last week, right, and for as terrible as they made C.J. Stroud look, even though C.J. Stroud helped them quite a bit, they still were only up 5, like midway through the fourth quarter, right? If I remember the game flow correctly. So what were they doing that they were only up 5 points? That's crazy. Because watching that game, you would have thought that they were up like 30. Stroud was awful. And yet late in that game, Patriots were still fighting to get comfortably ahead, right? I probably should have said late in that game, the Texans were still in it. But I kind of blanked right there as I was trying to think what I want to say next. That doesn't give you a lot of confidence for the Patriots now hopping on a plane, flying out to Denver, and then winning this game handily. Even with all of that, I am as square as fuck. And I am going to be going with the Patriots right here in the 3.5 points. I cannot get my mind around the idea that you can take a quarterback who is a backup, but who has not played forever, put him under center, and have him functional enough to have your team win at home against a New England team that, hey, look, they have played kind of a terrible schedule of opponents, but they've had a pretty solid year, and Drake May is good. And this team is going to come in after, I guess, surviving against the Texans defense and playing against a Broncos defense, which is good, but not nearly as good as the Texans. And an offense that, without Nix, could they be as bad as C.J. Stroud and the Texans? Maybe. So I just can't wrap my hands around the Broncos getting a win here or the cover. So give me the Patriots and the minus 3.5. 43.5, I don't know. It's kind of a light line. Again, the square in me wants to say over. But if Stidham has trouble scoring here, could you see what happens if it's 27-17? 44 points, that's the over right there. 27-17 isn't a ton of points. right? So I'm still thinking over. I don't know. I feel like that's the square bet, so maybe lean under. But again, I'm definitely Pats, and if I had to, gun to my head, pick one side of the point total, I would end up probably going over. Let's take a look at some of the prop bets for the game. We'll start off with the passing props. You got, I always look at props basically at where is the plus odds. So with Stidham, 225 is plus 126, and Drake May, 250 plus is plus 164. If you want to look at their over-unders and just their over-unders, I think they're both these over-unders at like minus 122 last I looked. Stidham is at 208.5, and May is at 223.5. And then there was one other passing prop that I looked at that caught my eye, and that was the Jarrett Stidham under a half a touchdown for plus 196. Isn't there a game that you could see that you could envision watching where Stidham doesn't throw a touchdown? Right? I mean, I understand it's 2026. The NFL is all about offense, even though it's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. It was all about passing, although it's come back down to earth a little bit. But here Stidham is, maybe the game plan is to kind of Giants 1990, run the ball, play defense, Stidham limit turnovers and the rest of it, and under no touchdowns in the game. Any touchdown in the game ends up being on the ground, and that's plus 196. Of all those passing props, I don't know if I really like. I kind of like the Stidham one because I think it's fun to go under a touchdown for plus 196. And if I looked at anything else, I don't know. Maybe under Stidham 208.5 if you wanted to. But again, with these two teams and their passing offense, I'd like to go May and over 250, but last week against the big defense, he kind of wasn't there. Got it done for sure. I think it was 3 passing touchdowns, right? 3 touchdowns was the nice prop out of him. But I don't know about anything there. So maybe that Stidham under and that touchdown under half, only because it's plus 196, so you get some odds there. Let's go over to receiving. And with all of the wide receivers, there wasn't anything that caught my eye. What did was the same thing that I fell back on last week, and that was Henderson and Harvey. Now, Harvey ended up hitting, like I said, in overtime. Henderson did not. He got hurt. It wasn't really great. But Henderson, you get plus 100 just for 5 yards of receiving yards. And then 20 receiving yards get you plus 560. So dump off in the flat. Henderson gets it, takes off 20 yards, 560. Right? You could see that. Harvey, 25 yards plus is plus 116. So I could also see that in a world where Stidham is dumping it off because it's like Ingram, Harvey, wide receiver, Ingram, Harvey, I could see Harvey getting a lot of looks out of the backfield just as Stidham's blanket, right? 25 plus gets you plus 116. And then if you did look at wide receivers, booty everywhere. Booty's 40 plus gets you plus 134. Little droppy Humphrey, which I said last week, and I don't think that's funny at all. I tried it. It didn't really work. But he dropped that fucking touchdown, which was terrible. And then he caught another one later on. But little Jordan Humphrey, 15 plus yards is plus 130. So, I don't know. He had a big roll last week. He has no roll this week. Possibly. But, I don't know. Worth a dice throw, right? So, Booty at 40 plus at plus 135. And then little droppy Humphrey. Again, I'm just going back to the well. Just like, it's going to work this time. And it's not. 15 plus for plus 130. Now, let's go to rushing. Harvey, Henderson, they're 40 plus, get you plus yardage there. Stevenson is 60 plus for plus yardage or plus odds. I don't know if I really like any of that. If you had to give me any, probably Stevenson, just because they've been feeding him the rock so much. But to get up to 60 plus yards on the road against Denver, I don't know. That gets you plus 158. Harvey and Henderson. Harvey, is going to be the man in the backfield. So 40 plus isn't a ton, but against the Patriots defense that might be looking to shut that run down because that's all they might have today, I'm not sure. So I think of any of those, I could lean Stevenson. Let's go to touchdowns. These are the ones that I picked out, and I do like them. The booty everywhere, plus 320. New England defense, plus 600. And then let's go over to the Broncos. Or before we go to the Broncos, let's stay with New England. Hunter Henry, plus 200 if you want a chalky touchdown pick. Now let's go over to the Broncos. Ingram, plus 550. Mims, plus 500. Right? Again, Mims only because he's seen a couple of balls his way. He had a touchdown last week. Ingram being a touchdown, safety blanket type deal. And then Humphrey. He could have had 2 touchdowns last week. They got him at plus 1,000 here. So, I don't know. I definitely, again, could see a game taking place where they look at little Jordan Humphrey for a touchdown look. And last week he could have had 2. Well, he's going to have 2, and then, I could see him having 1 today. For plus 1,000, mind you. 2 last things to look at in regard to props. Sacks. Spillane is at plus 520. I could see, them looking to blitz a little bit, create some chaos, right? And Spillane being used on said blitz for a sack. And at plus 520, I like it. Not probable, but seen crazier things happen. And then alt spread. If you think the Patriots are just going to throttle the Broncos, minus 6.5, which is a touchdown or greater, is plus 138. So I have some of this stuff in my bets in fourth down. So if you just want to hear my bets, just go to fourth down. You can skip the next part. But you'll see which one of those that I've just mentioned I kind of like more than others. So that's the AFC game. Let's go to the NFC game.
Third down.
And here we've got the Rams traveling into Seattle. The Rams survive Chicago in the 20-degree weather. They survive the Hail Mary pass from Caleb Williams, only to have Caleb Williams either throw a bad pass or DJ Moore run a bad route, or maybe a little bit of both, which I think it is. Obviously, everybody has analyzed the DJ Moore part to the umpteenth degree, and he quit on the ball. He blatantly did. And as I posted on X, it's funny to see him look back twice. Like, oh, he threw the ball to me. What the fuck? And I just, Curl made a great break on the ball. It was Curl, right? Durant had the other reception, but Curl broke on that one. I think it was a bad ball. Regardless, the Rams survive. On they go to Seattle. This game, 6:30 on Fox, 38 degrees. So weather not a huge factor in this one. It'll be cold, but not frigid. Not 20 degrees. Rams right now are dogs here on the road. Seahawks favored by 2.5. 45.5 is the over-under. There is no specific sharp lean, and the tickets and the money pool as of 20, 30 minutes ago were split down the middle 50-50, even as can be. So this game is the coin flip of coin flips, right? Nobody knows which way to go. You do have the prior injury to Sam Darnold now being not even in consideration. He is not on the injury report. Linebacker Surratt for Seattle is out. For the Rams, Bryant Young is questionable. That would be unfortunate because he's had a solid year rushing the passer. But other than that, both rosters pretty healthy. So what happens here with the Rams going into Seattle? I'll tell you, my thought is that this is a Ram lock, which makes me, again, the most square better in the effing universe. Because rationally speaking, after watching Seattle for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, betting against Seattle consistently throughout that, only to watch them play, and every time I doubt them, watch them just throttle the team across from them. And the most recent of two being San Francisco on the road for the number 1 seed, and then San Francisco at home last week to continue on to the conference championship. But other games in the second half of the year where I thought Seattle wasn't going to get it done, they always got it done. McDonald's a great coach. Their defense is solid. On offense, JSN, fantastic. K9, more than serviceable. Unfortunately, Charbonnet out this week. He's had a couple of solid runs in the postseason. I think that's a solid loss for them. But every time I bet against Seattle, it's always with the same mentality. And that is a thought that I have watched 3 years of Sam Darnold play for the New York Jets. And he was so goddamn awful that how is it possible he goes to Minnesota, has a solid year, then signs a significant contract for him with Seattle, and then repeats that performance? When they signed him to Seattle, I couldn't believe it. Blew my mind. Because I was like, who is going to give him that kind of money? It's just going to be a disaster. It's not going to work. And then Darnold goes out all year and tears it up. I don't know about tears it up, but they're the number 1 seed in the NFC. They have the home turf here for the NFC Championship game. They have beaten the Rams. And my sorry ass is sitting here picking the Rams again because I simply think the Rams are the better team. I think the Rams, at their best, are the best team in the NFL this year. Now, last week, they played like garbage. They played like garbage, dog. That's what I'm telling you. Like garbage. I mean, one would say
This was an affront to my senses.
the way that I saw them play last week. But Stafford, is he going to have 2 bad games in a row? Is McVay going to have 2 bad games in a row? Because McVay was awful. He was just as bad as Stafford, right? Is defense going to break down and give up more big, gigantic plays in key spots? Like that Hail Mary from Williams to Kmet, which is crazy. I mean, I have watched it so many. I cannot believe it. When he threw that ball, Kmet, and again, I keep forgetting who the D-back was. Like they're hand fighting at the front right of the end zone. What is the quarterback doing? Like, get your hands off, right? Like, don't hand fight him. He's twice your size. And the safety, he's shading out. He follows the one wide receiver across the middle, and then he looks back, and he's like, oh, man, my dude, you're like all by yourself with Kmet. Maybe I should get over there, but I'm so far over here now, I can't. But film breakdown, I do not do. So, I am average Joe TV watcher. You used to record Giant games on a VCR and watch them frame by frame on an old Sony, kick-ass Sony frame by frame VCR that my parents had got me. Back when there was no internet, or the internet was in its infancy, right? And you were just watching web pages. Now, forget it. People crunch tape. Like I couldn't even imagine, right? And I haven't played football since, a long, long time ago. So I am not your I'm trying to think of one of the internet gurus who crunches a lot of tape. Who's that guy that used to be at the Ringer, and then he went over to ESPN, and all he does is he draws things out. Ben Sosek, I forget his name. Anyway, but that is not me. But anyway, like I was saying, is McVay, the defense, and Stafford all going to have games like last week? I would think not. That doesn't mean that if they had great games, then all of a sudden they're automatic win. That's just what I think. I think they're the better team. And I'm still waiting. For Darnold to just crash in one of these spots. It has not happened. I don't know why it would happen now, but that's what I'm leaning toward. So I'm going to end up going with the Rams here and the 2.5. Let's go to the props, and this is what we got. I'm not big on the props with this game. If you want to look at passing, Darnold's at 250 plus to get positive odds. Stafford's at 275 plus to get positive odds. Their over-unders are as follows. Darnold is at 233.5. Stafford is at 256.5. One prop that I did look at that I did like was Stafford. Let's say he has a great game. He's going to pass all over the place, or one would hope. 3+ touchdowns for Stafford, plus 310 odds. So that I did look, and I was kind of like, oh, man, that would be fun, right? I could see that, right? Just throwing all over the place, making up for a poor performance last week. Let's go over to receiving yards. Again, wide receivers were sky high. Puka, JSN, even Devontae Adams, I think, was at 60 plus. I didn't like any of it. What I did go down to, again, was running backs. So K9 is at 25 plus receiving yards for plus 124. Williams is at 15 plus for plus 100. So I like the two of them, right? So you can, depending on which team that you like, but I can see a world where both Kyron and K9 get some decent features out of the backfield. So the other thing I looked at was Parkinson and Ferguson, because Parkinson is at 30 plus for positive 114, and Ferguson is 20 plus for positive 126. If you want to go to rushing, the only thing that I looked at that I was kind of caught my eye might have been Williams now, not only receiving for the 15 plus, but rushing 60 plus for plus 132. His over-under is 52.5. And then if you want to go to the touchdown markets, I only looked at Parkinson, Ferguson, and Corum. And then I looked at Darnold. So Parkinson is plus 320. Ferguson is at plus 650. Corum is at plus 340. And Darnold is at plus 1,200. Sacks. Verse is at plus 168. Leonard Williams is at plus 225. And then I also saw a special on FanDuel where Verse has a sack in both halves for plus 1,300. Then if you want to look at some alt lines, if you're like me and you really like the Rams, right now they're a dog at 2.5. If you want to favor them at 2.5, that's plus 142. And if you want to favor them at minus 6.5, so they win by a touchdown, that's plus 260. So those were the props that I was looking at. Let's get into all of the bets.
4th down.
And here we go. So, like I had mentioned at the end of last week, I had $4,700, $4,741 to be exact. And this is what I'm going to end up doing. We'll start with the first game. So, New England at Denver. Give me Stidham under a touchdown, 50 for 155 coming back. And for those unfamiliar, I always say how much I bet and then what I'm getting back, not what the win amount is, like what the total win would be, right? So here I'm winning $100, but I'm saying I put 50 down and I'm getting 155 back. Henderson, give me 25 on 10 yards, 15 yards, and 20 yards of receiving. So give me Henderson's receiving 10, 15, 20, 25 on each. That'll pull back 78, 113, and then 165. Booty, 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 booty everywhere. Give me Booty's 40-plus receiving yards, 75 on that for 175. I think he's just red hot, and I think that continues. Give me 50 on a touchdown for Booty. That 50 will pull back 210. New England defense. Give me the New England defense touchdown. $25 to get back 175. Stidham a pick six. If he can't get a touchdown through the air one way, maybe he gets it the other. And then little Jordan Humphrey. Give me 25 for 275 coming back. Then we go to the next game. Give me receiving yards. Give me Walker 25 plus. And give me Ferguson 20 plus. Give me 50 on both of them. So that will be 112 coming back for both of those bets. 4 touchdowns. 4. I'm holding up 5. 4 touchdowns. Bets coming in. Parkinson, Ferguson, Corum, and Darnold. I talked about them before. I bet them all here. 25 on each. Parkinson will get back 105. Ferguson will get back 188. Corum will get back 110. And if Darnold scats around the end, play fake, and runs it in as he's going to take his team to the promised land and make it to the Super Bowl, he's going to do it on his back. Touchdown on the ground, 25 for 325 coming back. I like the Gerard verse sacks in both half because I imagine that, Darnold takes sacks. So give me verse in both halves with a sack, 50 for 700 coming back. I like that one. Getting 1 sack is big. Getting 2 sacks is huge, and they've got to be in both halves. But fuck it. I've seen crazier shit happen. Give me the 50 for 700. And then I mentioned the Stafford 3+ touchdowns. I'm going to take that for 500, getting 205 back. And then I've got my big bets of the week. Give me a parlay. New England -3.5, so that's their spread. And the Rams money line because they're going to win. 500 for 281 coming back. $2,081 coming back. And then give me the blowout parlay. New England -6.5. The Rams -6.5. 100 to bring back 857. And then to round it out, to leave my bankroll at 3,000 should nothing here hit going into the Super Bowl, give me the Rams money line for $541, pulling back $1,179. So let's say $1,180 coming back. And that'll do it. That is how it's done, my friends. And that is a show. We'll call it right there. So I, at this point, am probably going to bounce and go shovel like everybody else here in the, East Coast, South, Middle America. It's basically everybody. Like I said, Winter Storm Fern just knocking people out. Just all the snowplow guys cashing in. All us lame ducks that have to shovel, we're out there grabbing our oldest sons, being like, come on, let's go. It's time to shovel. Help your dad so he doesn't have a heart attack. So everybody, all the best this week with your bets. Gamble responsibly, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next